side, not on this side. Very annoying. Fraser, can you say something? I don't think I can hear you.
No, it was a self-imposed mute.
Oh.
So I don't speak over
all right.
people. It's to help me not speak over you.
Greetings and good evening. I would like to welcome you to the Serving God Podcast Network. Thank you for joining us tonight for another episode of What's on My Mind.
Yes. You should get some advice from Frank. He's great on technical assistance. Helped me a lot. I've cut by like 85% my number of technical.
Yeah, right.
It's all about results.
We're gonna call it the highest buck that we
Is this the episode?
Thank you for joining us today on What's on My Mind, Sean's Morning Coffee. Please like our Facebook page, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. For questions or comments, please visit us at
www.serving-god-podcast-.
This is going to be followed up by the Munchies podcast.
The Doritos 101. Analyze each of the Doritos. This one's good, but this one's good.
No, let's mix yogurt and Doritos. It sounds awesome.
That's it.
Okay. Oh my god. There. Today is February 12th now. We were just discussing how it's now
11.
No,
Sunday or
Is it-
something like that.
the 11th.
Something like
The
that.
11th.
Give or take a day.
12th is tomorrow. Wednesday's Valentine's.
That I can put you guys on here in a second.
Today's the 11th, Sean.
Okay, we'll put on
11.
Piano's favorite.
The blue one.
Yeah, the blue.
Yeah, that's it.
No idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, there. Okay, so I'm bringing you guys up. So what's new, guys?
SSDD.
I don't know what that means.
Same shit, different day.
Oh, Frank, remember this is a children's show.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so
Family
let's restart.
There we go.
Let's restart.
On the screen now. You guys are in the middle of the screen. Frank and Fraser.
Hi.
Seeking Truth, Finding Frank and Fraser live on God the
Live,
Creator.
And-
that's it.
God
Sean
the Creator of
Beck-
the universe.
God, the creator of the music. What's up, boys? What are you doing?
Hey, what's
You wanna-
up?
Oh yeah, look there. You're the pink. You're the blue one. Just look there. That's
How you been? How have you been?
here on the iPad, and there on there, and then we're blue.
So how you been, everybody, man?
I haven't doing anything. I'm getting by. Just barely getting by.
Hope you keep on praising the Lord.
It's it's I do, but it's hard every day when I think that your life is going off track. You don't know what's going to come around the corner again, and you question, why did God let this happen? What's going on in my life? How is this going to get fixed? So it's I thank God my landlord's working with me too, but it's a day by day thing right now for me. And if anybody doesn't know, for context, I'm on disability. My brother is the one supporting me, and he broke his leg, and he's in the hospital right now. So,
Right.
we
So
depend on his income.
what would you ask the Lord for? What would you pray for?
I'm sorry. What do I pray for?
Yeah.
I'm just praying for some stability in my life, some financial stability. You know, that's all. That's all I'm really asking.
That's.
Thank you for joining us today on What's on My Mind, Sean's Morning Coffee. Please like our Facebook page.
Yeah, I guess I would also ask for redemption and stuff like that, but you know, I guess that as long as
you know, in the Bible it says, like, before you can even talk to the hungry man, you have to feed him, you know. And Frank, or anybody who's in that point in their life where they're going through stress, or Fraser, what was that word? What was that word in for that one, when it's really bad? You know, you're dealing with a situation. I think you know the word.
Crisis.
Crisis. That's it. Yeah. You want to elaborate on that, please?
Oh, elaborate on the crisis? Oh, it's. I don't know if I'm having a crisis of faith, but I'm having a crisis in my life. It's, you know, it's bad. You know, I don't know how we're gonna get by.
What's that?
One step at a time. It's Mount Everest. We're gonna get Frank to climb Mount Everest here.
Please don't even mention Mount Everest, because they're dead bodies on the mountain that they have to leave because they can't get them down. So,
did you hear about that? The government in Nepal finally said, "Stop coming and dying on our mountain. It's just dumb."
Yeah.
Every year, people go up there and they have no idea what they're doing.
Right.
And,
so that was probably the worst analogy you could ever give, because people climb Mount Everest and drop dead. So I'm climbing Mount Everest. Now I'm going to drop dead. Thanks, Fraser.
I'm helping you, though. I'll be there with you. So,
that was, I'm just breaking your chops, but that was a bad analogy.
Terrible analogy.
Yeah.
Let's go somewhere. Let's just go to Long Island then. Let's just go to Long Island for the weekend or something. Instead of
I want to ask you, Fraser, what are you the type of person who prays? That's I know a question that I always had. You know, like, to what point are you like a Christian, or are you like, do you believe in God, kind of thing? You know.
Like, in terms of praying and sort of like at the side of the bed, hands together, head down.
Like that. You
I don't know, man. Anyhow.
Bible says you don't even have to pray like any formal set of prayers. All you got to do is sit down, say, "God, please help me with this." Pray for somebody else's health, wealth, and well-being. That's all you need to do. You don't need any formal prayers. You know, is not necessary.
And that's really interesting, eh? Sean is getting back to like taking a step back, stopping, and just stop. Not stop the world, but just stop the things. Take at least a few moments to analyze, you know, to extend that on. Just like, look, whoa, let's stop the life. Let's just go straight in with, like, you know, into a deeper sense. Right. And so that's why I say, what do you call prayer? But no, I really like Frank's definition. Frank always explains things well for me.
But yeah, exactly. Like, I want to know.
It's true though. Like, what is prayer? That was my first question. Like, what is prayer?
Fraser.
Yeah.
Fraser. Earlier on, I was serious.
It's a serious too, because as individuals, because it's always going to come back to that relationship aspect. And
can I read something in the Bible?
That's a question. It should be just for you though. You know, like it's nice for you to share that. Oh, sorry. It's nice for you to share that, but, you know, it's most important for you, you know, just that communication. So it's personal. I can't tell you how your personal relationship is. You know, it would be arrogant for me to do that.
No. I guess I would say it in a different way. Just like, what is prayer to you then? Because I guess to start off with, I would say, I pray, but again, not at the sort of the corner of the bedside, head down, hands together, on my knees kind of thing. Not that kind of prayer, but yeah, definitely I would pray, but I suppose it would be getting around to, like, what do you call prayer? Me, I pray it would be sort of, if I would say prayer, like I wouldn't even, again, I call it prayer just for the instance of this, because that's sort of like maybe the sort of sending up a message, as it were. So if that's the way prayer is, just sort of sending up a message, pretty one-way line most of the time, well, I mean, there's no, you know what I mean? So, I mean, well, maybe you don't know what I mean, and we can get into that, but for me, it's sort of that sending a one-way message, as it were.
Can I read something from the Bible about prayer? Because Jesus puts it perfectly. It's Matthew chapter 6. Okay.
Will be pleased.
It's Matthew chapter 6, 5-8. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they'll be heard because of the many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him.
Right.
Like that. So, except for the blabbing part. I thought you were talking directly to me then.
Yeah.
That last part.
There's a point to that, though. There is a very, very important point to that.
Yeah.
Because it's not about works or saying fanciful things.
Right.
Or because they had a problem. You have to remember they had a problem at that time of people who, like, oh, my prayers are so good. Listen to my prayers. Like, it's a prideful thing. Like, they're doing it for show. They're not doing it as I love you, God, and I want you in my life, and I want to come into my life. Let me tell you, especially the one, what's that one, Frank, where, it's the sinner, the tax collector. Maybe you guys were talking about it, too, if I remember correctly.
Yes, we did. A couple podcasts ago. Yes, we did. We talked about that.
I don't remember. That's one of my favorite, actually. If you want to go on to that.
Let me find it first.
And finally, it's funny because Frank, who hates the government, ends up being the tax collector, which is a good thing. But, I don't know, but it really was that. It was the Pharisee up at the front, and the tax collector kind of more in the back there. Like physically when praying, I mean.
Yeah. Okay, so Luke 18, 9 to 14. Can I read it?
Yeah, read it.
Okay. So to some who were confident of their own righteousness and looked down at everyone else, Jesus told this parable. 2 men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee stood by himself and prayed, God, I thank you that I am not like other people, robbers, evildoers, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week and give 1/10 of all I get. But the tax collector stood at a distance. He would not even look up to heaven, but beat his breast and said, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. I tell you, this man, rather than the other, went home justified before God. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted.
Loved him because he had the same heart as him, and that's what God appreciates and loves, and wants from us. He wants, and that's why He's working on our heart to make us more humble,
right?
To make us more loving, and it wouldn't be if it wasn't because He was already like that. Because He is like that, He's helping us to be like that. Oh, my eyeball is watering, I tell you what.
But anyhow, I asked you that question basically to come to a point because in my prayers I came to the conclusion that there were many things that I was ignoring. There's many things that I was passing by, and I didn't pray for. For instance, I didn't pray for a certain forgiveness or for things that I have done that probably I shouldn't, and let's say opinion, I believe that this was because of my ego, because I wouldn't even recognize those sins or bad actions that I would have done in the past, and most likely because I would even try to forget those instances, right? And yeah, that's why you know, I always hear Sean say that he when he in his prayers, you know, he asks for to forgive him for his arrogance, and you know,
What, Sean arrogant?
to let
No.
him be more humble.
Really?
And the hardest part is it's like deep rooted. The hardest. I'm not saying I'm perfect or even close to perfect, but you know, as you mature in life, like if you're halfway through your life, there's going to be a certain ratio, you know, and there might be compression or whatever, but in general, you know, you're halfway through your life, you're more mature than when you were. So what is left for you to work on is usually going to be the harder things, the more subconscious, deep-rooted things. So, and that's it.
Yeah.
Pride and arrogance.
I
I
got-
think it was, who was saying that to? Was it you? Somebody was explaining to, because it's also were part of my analytical part of my mind, you know.
Oh, something.
And that's what we're going to talk about on the new show, about the things like that, superiority. And it's something that I don't agree with when it comes to identity politics, but the biased. What is it? What do they call that? The
What?
unconscious bias or racism or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, it makes me think actually of a movie that I was watching yesterday. One of my favorite movies by Alfred Hitchcock as well. The movie is called The Rope, and this character mistook the words of another character in order to justify his sin and come and kill another character. You know, and you see how this sort of self-righteousness could lead to such evil you know, consequences. When people really the ego takes over people, and you know, they start saying that not only, you know, having done a little thing is a sin, but also, like, you know, killing is not a sin, and stealing is not a sin, and you know, whatever is not a sin. And that's where the ego and not a yeah, I see that. That's where ego and
Lost me a bit there, Lucian. I understand arrogance leads to evil.
exactly.
But where I missed the part. Well, who was? But he was just like, who is proposing that murder is not a sin?
Was it character?
Where does that
people.
go? I don't know if that has been led to, like, any worldview. I don't know if that comes out as a result of
Arrogance.
most people.
Arrogance. And
No,
selfishness.
deciding that murder is not a sin.
Self-righteousness.
The arrogance, I was
feeling
with you
of
100% of
superiority.
arrogance stuff. 100%. It was just when who is saying? I don't think anyone's saying that murder is not a sin. So there's certain things.
Yes,
I would
there's
just say,
people
okay.
who would say that murder is not a sin. Is there people that would say that? You know, there's still
Okay, but
people who
like
would
a
try
worldview
to
that
justify
leads to
their
that.
sins,
So
and
I just-
they will take the words of the people and
I'm going with Fraser here. I think less than 1% of people are evil.
yes, of course, but there's still people who are evil.
Well, I think that less than 1% of people are
and even
pure
if we're not
evil,
talking
but-
about sin, we can relate, like we can take just a percentages of sin, you know, and take it to a different degree, and expand sin in little actions, and you know that in the long run it's gonna lead still a life that is unrighteous, you know, and not
Yeah.
sane.
Yeah, sorry, I guess I took it out of context. But yeah, up until then, I agree with you. Like, to bring it back to the internal, for sure, like working on what percentage of sin is inside of me and what percentage of arrogance is inside of me. And just like you say, knowing that if I let that go, like step after step within myself, justifying one more step,
Right.
being arrogant, and then justifying that, then I can definitely see myself being led down an evil path. So just on the internal state, rather than trying to say, like I try to say, well, wait, which group are we talking about now? I don't even care actually right now. It's just like within me, 100% agreement. Like that little percentage of sin, and you've always got to be mindful of it. Hey, Sean, mindful. And just to know that if I do be unmindful, or if I stop being mindful and take that step, it's a cascade and it's really hard to walk it back. And so, yeah, that arrogance, I believe, the arrogance to say that I know, it'll be okay. I could do this. I could have,
exactly.
one more drink and I won't become an alcoholic.
Yeah,
that's that arrogance that gets you to be an alcoholic. So,
I'm gonna go with this other woman instead of going with my wife, and it's gonna be just once, it's not bad and this and that, and
don't do it.
Look at the face, he's so tripping. No, imagine, I'm gonna.
No, I thought you were saying you were gonna go with another woman.
And then twice, and it's like it becomes a nonsense relationship, and stuff like that, and it could even be in different levels, like you let go of your level of aggression, and you always get into fights, and then one day you punch somebody on the face and you end up killing them, and you never know, and you gotta run away, and you run away.
Loved him, or was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many people get hurt by that?
Yeah.
And I've had times where I let my temper get the best of me too. Not maybe my brother too a lot, but online I talk to people, I get mad, I say things I shouldn't say, and it's not like I'm not evil in myself, but I do something that's not good to somebody else. Could that constitute evil or a sin? Maybe. I think so. I've apologized.
Of course it does.
You actually made me think as you were saying it. Like I was like, yeah, I punched that guy in the face and he deserved it. But just like you said, Frank, it was like, yeah, but that didn't lead to any good in the long run. Exactly, it felt good for about 1 second. And then, like you say, he went home and I hope he felt it for a couple. No, that's terrible. But you know what I mean? Like, it was that immediate satisfaction.
I've seen
I know it was wrong. I know it was wrong.
My man, I've seen
but
fights.
He hit me first even. But I was still wrong that I punched him in the nose.
People breaking bottles, and throwing the bottles to each other, like from one side to the other of the room, like hard, and there would be glass splashing all over, man. Oh man, that was crazy, man. Drunk people.
You've been in some wild parties, Luciano.
Yeah, that was like, I don't really like to go party, that's not my type. But I didn't expect that to happen either, They just told me to come to a party and say okay, and then I went, and that happened, Yeah.
That's nuts.
Look,
2 or 3 people now already tell me I look horrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, I didn't name names, though, Frank. You don't have to identify yourself as one of them. It's okay.
I just outed myself.
I do look
sorry.
like crap.
No, you do. I'm only saying it because I'm concerned.
Look at the extra bloom on the light,
So, how about you guys? How do you guys pray? Maybe we could go around the table. I could learn something too.
Me. I'm not shy to tell that I pray to the name of Jesus Christ. The Lord Jesus Christ, and I'm not ashamed to say that.
I pray in His name, in and through His name. Yeah. I pray myself. It's all the time, pretty much. Not like every moment, but usually moment by moment, depending on what's going on and what I think, or what I feel, or what happens in my life, who I'm talking to, or what I'm doing. So, okay, so when I get up, I have a paper on my wall right by when I turn my light on. So right away, I turn my light on, and it says right away, step 1 is pray. Right away, I pray and give thanks to God. And like Luciano says, Jesus is commanded, He gave a formula, and part of that formula is forgiveness. And I want to be a better person, and I want to forgive people, and that's part of the formula too. Forgive me as I forgive those who have trespassed, or I owe money to, or whatever, the different ways to put it. But the people that you've sinned against, you ask for forgiveness to them too, just like you ask God for forgiveness. So it's. I'll pass it back to you guys.
When I wake up, I say, God, why did you wake me up today? I'm kidding. Oh, God, why did you do this to me?
No. First prayer of the day.
When I do pray, I pray to God. I do ask for things from. I'm selfish at first. I ask for, can I have some financial stability? Then I pray for some people. I know some people are sick, people having a hard time. I pray for them also, and everything I pray. I pray through Jesus' name. I ask Jesus for all these things. Don't know if my prayers get answered. And I told Fraser this a couple of days ago. Some of my prayers have been answered, but not the way I expected.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
What are your prayers like? Are they personal? Like do you have personal prayers, Fraser?
Yeah, like I say, just kind of one-way messages. Not usually, like, in my mind, there's not going to be I don't actually ask. I used to ask for stuff, I suppose. Realize that was kind of futile.
Well, everybody knows.
Like, Infinity already knows what I need and knows exactly how to give it to me. But more, if there was anything like that, it's just, I guess, not vocalize, but at least vocalize inside my head, like that, to know what I need or what I want, at least what I desire, and trying to suss that out. That sort of just vocalization, as I say, sending message out. It's just another way of clarifying that to myself. Like, when you got to get down to it, not meditation, but like mindful thinking, like what's important, and I never did it really classed it like that before our group thing, but it was like, kind of priority A, B, and C, and like, where am I at on that? What are my efforts toward, or what am I, what is my desires in it? What do I feel like I'm accomplishing in those most important things? It's just sort of like, so go through my family. It's like my son, kind of like, okay, what's going on with my son? It's just sort of like, man, I got to spend more time with my son. And it'll be something as small as that. And it's just like, in my mind, that's a prayer for more time with my son.
Yeah, for sure.
Which,
you're right.
It's not going to be like he's going to slow down the clock or something so I can spend more time with him on the weekend. It's more like, the answer to that will be, just a clarity on something to do the next day with him. Or something like, like stop watching YouTube because, that's eating up time with him. So, like, how it's answered is weird. And I can't say that that's his answer, but it was like, almost his answer is to make me ask the question, so then I have to think about it. I don't know. That's a weird way of putting it, but that's kind of an example of what am I.
But you're right too, because you're hitting the head on the nail right there.
I'm just telling you how I do it.
God, like Frank said earlier, when he read the Bible, God knows all the things you need before you ask it. So that's the point. He's getting you to ask questions. Because it's the free will. You see how the free will ties in? He can help you without you needing to ask, right? But that is why, the free will, and that he loves you, and he doesn't force himself on you. He gets you to ask those questions and to pray like that, like, but not directly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's again, it's so mysterious that I wouldn't even hope to explain it. Yeah, no, and I don't try to explain it. I don't know if there's an explanation, in fact. Yeah, but it is, what is it? It's true because it works, or it works because it's true, something like this. It's not true because it works because it's true. No, it's not. Anyways, there's one way you're supposed to say that, and that explains it well, but again, it doesn't work because it's true.
Works for you, right?
Fraser,
yeah, it doesn't work because it works. It works because it's true. No, wrong again.
Fraser, do you know the Lord's Prayer? Do you know the Lord's Prayer? Fraser, look.
It depends how you define that. The one that me and him talk about, or the one that the Christians talk about? No, I know what you mean.
One in the Bible, Matthew chapter 6. One in the Bible.
Yeah,
Matthew's the Lord's Prayer from Matthew. Okay. Yes, of course I know it, but I don't know it by heart.
Oh, I don't. Yeah. This is in Matthew.
But it's not like he has to.
Bible study.
What am I going to read?
I won an award for Bible study. The Golden Ruler. It was the basketball camp.
Basketball.
We also
like basketball.
Camps, trail hiking camps. They were also Christian camps.
Am I going to read
all summer and Sunday? You can go ahead and read it, sir. But I do know of it. Just to say, I'm not a total heathen.
It's okay. We still love you.
Pagan. No, I don't know what I am.
Pagan, heathen, whatever. You're phrasing.
Matthew, go ahead, please pray.
I'm going to read 9 to 15. This is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins.
There we go. That's the word of God. Amen. Thanks be to Jesus Christ. Okay, guys, I think let's end it up here because it's 2 o'clock. And we got 30 minutes in. And then I think tomorrow is Sunday night. I think we're planning on doing something tomorrow night. So
tomorrow will not be available unless you want to do it after midnight.
That is possible. Yes.
Okay.
Oops, I turned my sound off, sorry. Yes, I think that is awesome.
If I got to take a nap, it's okay. All right, guys. Love you guys. Thank you for all your hard work. You know that we're making this.
All right, thanks for the podcast. I look forward to many more.
You know, we're making it come together. And I'm going to use my what's on my mind as the outro because it's important. We have our robot women who read our terms of service and our copyright and our disclaimer messages. I guess you guys haven't heard the new outro, huh?
I just heard that one. It's super weird. I thought we were going for all sorts of free speech here. This robot woman is really, really scary. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And now for my favorite announcer on the network. It's so
sometimes she does call me dictator, but you don't hear it very well with the reverb. So I silence her. She's been silenced. Her voice.
It's a really hard echo, though, Sean.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix it up. You know, it's touch and go. I didn't really listen to it today, so I don't know. I'm using a backup operating system today, and I had to reinstall a lot of things, and I'm gonna sort through that shit. Or pardon my language. I'll sort through that tomorrow.
Sort through that stuff. All right. Well, hey, we could go on tomorrow. Maybe we could do something tomorrow. I don't know what the timing.
Luciano's dying here.
Timing you're thinking of.
Luciano's got the giggles. We just lost him. He's gone.
Yeah. Hey, Luciano, too. When's your next episode? We got to get it down. When's your next episode, Luciano?
Yeah, man. He's supposed to, huh? When you gonna start Jesus Christ show?
Tomorrow.
You know, we're all
tomorrow.
We all got our shows going now, and you don't have those shows.
Yeah, I should have a show.
I'm just piggybacking on you guys.
Soon, most likely.
All you have to do is press the live button and then just invite. That's all it takes. It's so simple. And all the questions you just had, you just keep going from there. You had a question. I'm sure you're unsatisfied with my response. We should just talk about it more.
Yeah, that's it.
True that. That was fun. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow then.
And it had a very, very good ending, I find, with the prayer. Very complimenting and interesting. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thank you for the time.
All right. Good night, everybody. God bless.
Take it easy, guys.
God bless you guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
And then let's put some robots on. I don't think, but you know what sucks. We won't be able to.
Thank you for joining us today on What's on My Mind, Sean's Morning Coffee. Please like our Facebook page, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. For questions or comments, please visit us at www.serving-god-podcast-network.com. This episode was created during the month of February in the year 2018 and is owned and created by the Serving God Podcast Network. All right. You may not reproduce this episode, the live stream itself, or any recording of this audio and visual content for any reason, in whole or in part, without the expressed written permission of their respective copyright holders. Please contact us first. Have a wonderful day, and God bless you. From the Serving God Podcast Network team.